Hi, and welcome to this version of Roaming with Restless Women. Today we have Sophia Trevenna. Sophia is her journey from a tech savvy engineer to a globally recognized visionary leader in sustainability and intuitive guidance is nothing short of extraordinary. She's that rare individual who's not only bridged the two worlds of science and intuition, but she's used this unique combination to transform her own life and the lives of countless others through her coaching, courses, books, and guided meditations. Dr. Trevenna's approach blends engineering, precision, and logic with a willingness to listen to her intuition when it opened 20 years ago at the age of 30. And that set her on a truly extraordinary path, including signs, synchronicities, dreams, and spirit guides. She left corporate life to pursue a PhD and became a professor and program designer for the Departments of Defense and Education. She also is a business leader, a CEO, nonprofit, director, author, and keynote speaker. She established herself as a global leader in sustainability and evolutionary business. What sets Dr. Trevenna apart is that she didn't just stop at learning to apply intuition to her own success. She honed her ability to channel this wisdom for others and developed a structured method of receiving, interpreting, and applying higher guidance in her program called Level Up Intuitive Coaching. She's channeled life and business strategies as the founder of her executive coaching with over 150 world-changing CEOs and professional leaders in 25 countries. Her client list reads like a who's who of global change makers. She's currently creating a legacy project with her best friend focused on beauty, wellness, and wisdom that she believes will reach millions with products for sensitive, intuitive people. So, welcome, Dr. Trevenna.
Wow, I don't know that I've ever heard all that put together in my entire life. That was quite a moment for me. Thank you for that summary. It's amazing. Thank
Good.
you.
Now you know why I was so interested in talking with
Ah,
you. It's
thank you,
very
Julie.
exciting.
I'm
I love,
excited to see what we're going to talk about. I'm so
uh,
excited.
the first thing I want to talk with you about is your how you opened or how your intuition opened. I'm curious
Hmm,
about that word 20 years ago.
beautiful question. I was a mechanical engineer working at the biggest tech company in the world, and I was very pragmatic. I didn't grow up with religion. I didn't grow up with anything that would cause me to open or go seeking intuition. And I think, like many of us, I was having an absolute 360-degree breakdown.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So I realized while I was working there that we were exploiting people in the planet. I was
Mm,
sent to Mexico to open a new manufacturing plant right after the border opened for free trade. And I realized we were just working them to death, polluting the rivers. I tried to do everything to change it. No one would listen to me. And I was in a pretty much clinical depression with the anxiety over what I couldn't do by staying and what I would do if I left. And
right.
I begged the ethers in a curled up ball in my bed, please help me. I don't know what to do. Please help me. And I'd waitressed my way through engineering. I didn't have any financial fallback. I didn't know what else to do with my life. And literally the next day, I got profound signs that were telling me to quit my job that were undeniable. Um,
Wow.
Synchronistically, being in a restaurant in Toronto with 3 million people, and one woman my age who had quit came walking in the restaurant so I could talk to her. Right after I said the words, no one my age, and especially a woman, quits this company. And she walked into the restaurant. Like that kind of thing happened all day long.
Wow.
Yeah. And I am a scientist and I understand mathematical probability. So the probability of all those things happening were not lost. I understood math too much to dismiss how improbable that was. So I couldn't rationally understand what to do, so I decided to do it as an experiment, to use my scientific side to experiment. What if I just followed it? It would be an experiment of a lifetime. I'd lose my job. I wouldn't know what to do, but I'd have to trust more signs would come. So I did that. And
Okay.
yeah, and it was terrifying. And at first, more
Sure.
signs didn't come, and I just was floundering and terrified. And then one of my dear friends said to me, what happened last time? And I said, I was crying in bed. I was screaming, please help me. And then she's like, it sounds like you asked. Why don't you ask again? And I said, oh, what's my next step? And it came. So that began my experiment 20 years ago of using my rational side that wanted to dismiss this and override this intuitive side, but using my rational side to do experiments, watch what happened, play it out fully, take note of when it worked, when it didn't, when I got blocked, etc. So that was another 3 years that guided me all over the world through on a motorcycle ride through 5 countries in Central and South America to find a long lost family member, to heal my heart, to 20
Oh,
people. I know it was head spinning. And I didn't know what to do with my career or life. But eventually I was guided to a class that introduced the word sustainability long before the world heard of it. And I started vibrating so much I
yes.
had to leave the room.
Oh my goodness. So
Have you ever, I don't,
that wasn't just answering, that was hitting you over the head with a 2x4. This is it.
yeah.
Oh
And
my
I don't know how you get
goodness.
intuition. I get it in so many different ways and it's always been changing. But that was
Yeah.
the first time that I started, my stomach started vibrating so much. I called it the convulsions. And then my best friend since I was 13 said, you can't call something that beautiful the convulsions. And I said, okay, the good word, like something told me that so
Yeah.
I got up and left the room and I was standing against the wall and I'm like, whatever this sustainability thing is, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then I stumbled across my first psychic
Oh,
and she said to me, you're supposed to go back to university and become a professor of this thing you're talking about, this sustainability stuff. And I fell off my chair. I just was like, no, that's crazy. School's crazy. And she's like, but I get you're taking classes right now. And I said, I am taking classes. And two of them actually on how to build communities with the environment in mind and things like that. And she's like, it sounds like you like it. And I said, I love it. I'm doing it voluntarily, not for a degree. And she's like, why don't you just go do that and get a degree?
yeah, why not? Oh my gosh. Sometimes things in our lives, we just need to hear somebody else say, it's not crazy. It's, why
Hmm.
don't you do it? Why not?
Yeah, Julie, I think that you're instantly telling me what the value of actual coaching is.
Absolutely. Encouragement. It's asking questions. You're figuring it out, right?
Yeah,
The person has
yeah.
to figure it out. But yeah.
It's definitely all in the agency of the person being coached because they reached out for it. They're putting skin in the game. They're putting the time and the money into it. Yet, what the value is that you've been so entrenched in this worldview that when someone on the outside, especially with intuition, says, here's a possibility for your life that you're not going to see because you're so locked into that not being a possibility in your life. And that moment, I needed that outside voice. And I actually needed her to remain with me while I actually told all my friends and started this search of where do I do this? And then a dozen people mentioned Hawaii to me. I'm sitting in a restaurant by myself and someone gives me a book on Hawaii to read while I wait for my food. And then I run
Wow.
into her, the same psychic in Vancouver. I run into her in a restaurant. She says, how's your whole search for university going? And I said, interesting. She's, I get that you are being called to Hawaii. And I'd
So
never
you
been,
went to Hawaii.
flew sight unseen. And the day
Oh,
before
wow.
I left, my girlfriend says to me, no, the day before I left, I hosted a women's brunch every Sunday for a few years. And the women at the brunch, we were all talking and I was telling them about my trip to Hawaii and I was telling them how I had got all these signs. And then I forget how it exactly happened, but all of a sudden I burst into tears and I said, I said something to one of the girls and she said, how did you know that? I said something profound and insightful. I think this is what you need to do. Like me going to Hawaii, I think you need to do this. And she got teary eyed. She's like, how do you know that? And all of a sudden I got teary eyed and I said, I think I'm psychic. And everyone started laughing and they said, you're the last to know. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm trembling. I don't know what to do with that. And they said,
Yeah.
let's have a coming out party for you. It's
Oh,
like,
how
it's
cool.
a, so we all left the brunch. We went and had tea and I did readings for everyone. And I sat there and for the first time with a dozen women just said, you had a phone call earlier today. It was from your mom. You thought you were over that. You're not, but here's the 3 things you need to do. And blah, it just started coming through and it one after the other and
Oh,
I did it with all of them and I said, "Oh, I really can do this." And at the end of that brunch, one of the women said, "Wait a minute, I have a friend in Hawaii." And that friend ended up hosting me for a month and introducing me to everyone, including where I ended up getting into the University of Hawaii department, where I eventually became a professor and did everything I was guided to do.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So it sounds like you just basically got bombarded with signs,
Oh, yeah.
and then you were open to realizing things about yourself as you grew. And
Yes,
those things, as you realized them, were validated outside of
absolutely.
yourself.
And I
As
really
a
needed her
science,
support. Yes.
as a
Sorry, keep going.
scientist, were you not freaking out?
This is what I was going to say, freaking out, which is why I needed the support of the psychic who then turned into coaching me over the many months of the transition. And I
Yes.
don't know what I would have done without her. And I always question the role of a coach. I
Mhm.
don't know, you've probably seen this too. There's people that make you dependent on them or think that they have the
Oh,
answers.
yeah.
We're not about that. I know you're not. I can feel it. I'm not about that.
No, not at all.
But the value is having someone in your corner who stands with the new life you're going towards and helps you stay in that sort of not against, but at the context of where you're coming from. The friends
Right.
that are like, "You're crazy," or the new gifts you're opening, or the new you're experiencing.
Hmm.
It really helps to have one person outside of that context just be there the whole time. That's that corner, being in the corner with you. And then on top of it, she's getting actual very specific downloads that are beyond what I could analyze or think of for myself. And I can't deny that she's giving me insights that are beyond the mind.
That's amazing. And so then after this, you decided that you were going to put into practice your psychic and coaching ability, and you created, let me see, Level Up Intuitive Coaching. Okay, so when did
Okay,
that happen?
sure. I'll give you the arc there. So in Hawaii for 10 years, I lived in the back of a valley without and nothing around me except for nature for the first 2 years. And I used to meditate every day. And that's when I realized I could leave my body and go be in the trees and explore. I had no idea that was
Oh,
possible.
wow.
One day I was up there and I saw a cloud and I went into it and six white light beings turned around and looked at me and I started crying with love. It was my spirit guides. I didn't know that at
Okay.
the time. But every day I went up and saw them and they gave me specific guidance. Like, you're going to go back to your body, you're going to get an email, they're going to ask you to speak in an event, say yes. And I would go back and there it would be. Or they'd say, wear something wonderful today. You're going to be invited into the meeting with the president of the university. And I'd dress up in business clothes and that would happen. So for a year and a half, they did this. And then I left the jungle and I didn't see them quite the same way, but they still sent me messages every day. So I worked with my spirit guides for 10 years to build all my curriculum, programs,
Hmm.
businesses. I was thriving. I lived 3 feet from the ocean, right at the foot of Diamond Head, if anyone knows Honolulu. I had a
Wow.
co-working space. I hired my best students into my consulting firm. It was beautiful and hard and beautiful. Then 10 years in, I go to a conference on the mainland. I try to go back. I get put in the hospital. My appendix is bursting. I recover from that. I go try to go back. I get put in the hospital again. My intestine, something's off. I try to go back again. I get put in the hospital. So, anyways, at some point I said I don't want to be put in the hospital of what to do. And the doctor came in and said, "Where do you live?" And I said, "Oh, I live in Hawaii." He's like, "Where's your family?" And I said, "Canada." He's, "Go home to your family. You need to heal." And I just thought that's the message. So I did. And then from there, I finished my PhD. It took me 2 months to heal from all of these hospital visits.
Oh,
And then I was guided to not go back to Hawaii, let everything go, and get an airplane. And when I got to the airport, I was guided to go to Paris. I got on the airplane. I met a CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world. And all of a sudden, I realized I could see other people's spirit guides. And I started getting guided around the world for years. I didn't have a home. I had just a suitcase. And I went from place to place, meeting people in a restaurant, et cetera, whatever, who were designing new divisions of the UN or having the mandate from their global organization to get sustainability curriculum in every school in 3 years. And we would download in detail the blueprint for that. And then I'd coach them into going from where they were to being a global leader, and their clothes and their expression and wearing red lipstick and bigger earrings and taking up space, what women
right,
have to do to go. So it was
right.
the project and it was them coming into the biggest expression for the betterment of the world. And so that then led me 25 countries, 150 clients.
Wow. And That's
Here I
what
am.
became Level Up Intuitive Coaching? Oh my
Exactly.
goodness. It sounds like you basically created the company before you created the company.
And it showed me I'm not a mother of children, but I'm a mother of programs and books,
Oh,
online
I love
courses.
that expression. I love that
Mm-hmm.
expression because what comes out of us is
Yes,
intrinsically valuable because we are intrinsically
absolutely.
valuable.
Absolutely. And I really struggled with all that I was doing and the notion of motherhood, being a natural mother. It's so natural to me. And I got to do it with my students and my staff, etc. Mostly I got to do it with myself, taking the mother in me and being holding the child in me when it was hard, when I was scared, when I thought I might be crazy, making these risks that didn't make sense to my rational side, but wouldn't want to deny my intuitive side. The mother in me said, "You're doing the right thing, Sophia. I love you. You're doing your best. Even though you made that mistake, you learned so much. You're doing great." So I had to mother myself. So I say all of this
Wow.
because I feel that there's not many voices in the world that say saying it's okay to be a mother without having children. And I feel like
Yes.
the intuitive coaching program birthed through me. And it's very specific things that I found over the years with people from all these cultures and walks of life and ages and men as well. It was that there's some common things, and
Mhm.
that with every struggle, we can go in and ask your spirit guides, because everyone has one to three at least. I can ask your spirit guides very specific questions, and I found certain ones were very valuable, such as, what are my blind spots around this? What is
Oh,
the
yes.
challenge and the highest strategy for this? What is the childhood wound causing this?
Mhm.
What would we have to do for this dynamic to never show up again? What is the insight? What is the action? What is the next step? What is the glimmer around this that I don't even see? Like, move to Hawaii, or you're supposed to be a professor. What is on your path that you're not even seeing because you're so head down in this? And then I always ask, what would make life the most potent, beautiful it could possibly be in this moment? And it might be something like, let yourself have ice cream today, or
Mhm.
take that yoga class that your friend keeps asking. The thing that could make life beautiful you're not paying attention to. Connect with your best friend again. Talk to her every day for the next week while you go through this.
That's amazing. That's really
Yeah,
amazing. And so describe a little bit about it sounds people come to you. Your clients just appear to you out of
I would
need.
say so. I would
Um
say so.
have you so it seems to me like, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you do much marketing? And if you do, I'm sure there are people that doubt. There's a lot of skeptics in this world,
Sure.
or they just don't believe in what you're saying. How do
Sure.
you handle those individuals or those objections?
Absolutely. I'm going to quote Taylor Swift.
Okay, please do. Kick it off.
Actually, I'll go a little bit further to her more recent quotes, but I think somewhere she said, there's no career path that way you're not attacked.
Hmm.
If they are having a problem with you doing something new. And I was a pioneer of sustainability, saying we need to, in business models, we need to honor people on the planet, at a time when everyone said, then you won't make money, you're crazy, weird, lefty, hippie, whatever things that I didn't connect with. And then it became the global movement that is now more of the norm for business. So similarly, I feel like I'm a voice that says, we're not the only animal without instinct. We
Oh,
just
for
use our mind
sure.
to override it rather than listen to it. And I've turned it into a scientific discovery. And so you may say this isn't real, and I'll just say that you're in denial of your biology, of the nature of reality. And that's okay. You can be in denial of what I know is true for all of us. And you cannot understand that I believe that. And we're allowed to agree to disagree. And it doesn't mean that you're going to work with me, or we're not going to work together. But I even feel, as a professor, I even feel like that discourse is valuable for everyone's growth.
Mhm.
So if they are wrestling with themselves, whether this is true or not, it's the same as my students were wrestling with whether sustainability is a possibility or not. And that wrestling with means it's engaged, which means it might actually get wrestled with in a direction that change happens. So I'm okay with
Yes.
uncomfortable discourse around things. And I specifically choose what I engage in, because I don't have a lot to learn from those anymore, because I know my stance. I've graduated. Um,
Yes.
so I put out my books, and I put out my course, and I put out my guided meditation series, and people can meet those things and grapple with them, but they don't have to grapple with me anymore, because I know where I stand. And that grapple will be their growth, but it doesn't take from my energy, so I can work with the people that are ready to do the transformation towards integrating their intuitive, connected side in with their
Mm-hmm.
get stuff done, show up in the world, make money side, those two worlds together. And so that's why I work with one-on-one, because we both grow then.
Absolutely. And you've already answered the whole biggest transition question. I have three questions. And first of all, let me ask you about the new venture that you're starting with your best
Sure.
friend. Let's talk about that a
Wonderful.
little bit.
Okay, great. So I'm just I get little intuitions while I'm talking, but I have this book about inner clarity. So it's called Living from Inner Clarity. And what I discovered over the years, that this is like my 20 years of learning put into one book, a little handbook with 7 rituals to align yourself with your higher truth.
Okay.
And I have a lot of scientific studies in here that prove the types of things I've experienced. One is that IKEA gave identical plants to tons of schools and had them bully one plant for a month and love on the other plant for a month. And then at the end, they all looked like this, if you
Oh
can
my
see.
goodness. Yes.
So over the years, I noticed that I was reprogramming myself to love on myself and not be hard on myself. We all have that inner dialogue. And as I
Yes, we
did,
do.
I physically changed. And so I was wondering about that. And then on top of it, I'm a sensitive intuitive. So certain skincare and supplements were needed because to help me be in my relaxed nervous system, not my fight or flight nervous system, which we're all programmed into,
Oh,
so that
yes.
I could
Yes.
actually listen to the intuition. So I actually needed, and my guides guided me to 22 supplements that allowed me to do that, while I was also they also guided me to a very specific formula for all my skincare that would work with the higher frequency of me loving myself. Because as I loved
Oh,
myself more and I was looking more like that other plant, anything that had chemicals or preservatives or like lacking the nutrition for the amount of up leveling I was doing, my brain neural pathways couldn't keep up. They were building so fast that I would get headaches and be in thirst. I called it the spiritual flu. I would up level in a spiritual experience and be in bed for 3 days.
oh
So I got all
goodness.
these supplements. So I knew that I would needed to take these 22 supplements and put them in a shake for me alone, because it was so many of them. And especially
Yeah.
as we know, as women our age, I'm 51 next week, I would not have a hard time getting to sleep and sleeping through the night. I wake up in the middle of the night. So the angels guided me to some very specific amino acids that allowed my body to sleep all the way through without drugginess, without amino acids. Just it would allow my system to rejuvenate at night. And my hair started growing back. And I used to have a lot of bald spots here. Grew back
I've
in,
got one. I'm covering
right?
it up right here.
Well, so you're going to like this. So they gave me certain things that take me before bed that help me sleep, go to sleep easily, not wake up, but not melatonin, not druggy, not drowsy. As my body rejuvenated, my mitochondria, my cells, my hair, it made me sleep because my body was working in rejuvenation. So the side effect was deep sleep. So long story short, I then got guided. I needed to bring these products to market. The
Okay.
shake with all the things, the body oil, all of it. And I was like, and I make my own jewelry. And everyone
Oh, I
always says,
thought that those are really pretty.
thank you. So, because so many people said this to me, and I had the signs around them so much, the angel said to me, "You're to create a line that is skincare, nutrition, and jewelry." And I said, "What a crazy combination!" They said, "If you're just doing the skincare and nutrition, you can't see someone else that's also doing the same thing. But now you can go to a party and going, oh, you're wearing the earrings from you. You're sensitive too and intuitive too." And the jewelry includes necklaces that have symbols for 4 phases of transformation. So anyone can see your necklace and
Okay.
go, oh, you're in an inner state. You don't want a lot of connection and conversation. You're in a very yin state. The next one's, oh, you want conversation, but very present and slow. And this one is actually, oh, you're actually flourishing like a flower opening. You want to be invited. You want to meet new people. You want to, so you
I
can
want a
tell by someone, I
party.
want a party. Yeah. So there's 4 stages of necklaces. So you can actually see someone and go, oh, they have the earrings, and oh, they actually want to connect with new people. I'm going to go introduce myself. We're in the
Oh,
same
very
community.
cool. That's really neat.
Anyways, so that's the company. And then my best friend of 25 years ended up getting divorced last year, and we ended up moving. I invited her to move into the same building that I'm in. So we call ourselves the Penthouse Priestesses, and we are having the time of our lives. And then she was in beauty and wellness for 30 years. So in
Uh-huh.
one of my sessions, our guides came together and told us together, you're to build this company together. And so I'd been working with a different company name, Beautiful, be.u. to be you, just be your natural beauty on authenticity, all these things. And then we changed the name to Sophia, the merger of Sophia and Anya, my best friend.
Oh,
So the company is Sophia Beauty, Wellness, and Wisdom. We rented a third apartment on our floor so that we can film content every day like you're doing. So we can start to put out the wisdom part. We want to interview people from all walks of life like you're doing, to exactly what you're doing. Share the wisdom, the lived wisdom from every single age, gender, experience, to get those golden nuggets that your unique path has learned that we can all learn from. Exactly what you're doing. So the company is going to have, every product has also a QR code to that wisdom platform.
oh, that's amazing. I love that. I love the idea of
Yeah.
the wisdom platform as well.
Right?
One of the things, all of that, any information that you've provided as far as your new company or how to get a hold of you with as a coach will be in the show notes.
Great.
I have three questions I ask everybody at the end of the podcast. The
Great.
first one's a little weird, but you're good with weird, so that's
I like
good.
weird. Bring on the
Okay.
weird.
I'll ask you to close your eyes
Hmm.
and describe the picture that appears when I say wise woman, and then open your eyes and tell me about her.
Hmm. 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 Beautiful invitation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I instantly saw an older woman with I don't do Botox or color my hair. I keep my age showing. I like it. And I saw a woman even older than me, maybe 20 years older than me, with more gray and more wrinkles. And I think older is beautiful. I think the actual character development of the physical form is just art and sculpture to me. So I instantly loved that. She had a staff, and she was at the top of a path, and she was looking out at a vista, and the sun was rising over the vista. And she was very still and present. That's what I saw.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Okay. Where do you like to roam?
I've been guided to Los Angeles so the first time in 7 years. I have a beautiful 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom place with a beautiful vista of the hills. And I love to roam those hills. So I lived on the edge of the ocean for 8 years in Hawaii, 3 feet from it, was in the ocean 3 times a day. And I don't feel drawn to the ocean. I feel like I got the ocean lessons. I'm drawn to the hills, the soft feminine, and I love wandering the canyons. And I guess much like I saw that woman, she's in the hills. I like what I feel going down them, what I feel going up them, what I feel turning corners. It's different than ocean lessons where you're in the waves and you feel right and you're with the nature flowing together. This is so more of peaks and valleys of discovery and challenge and ease and peaks. And so I like to roam in nature, and this is the specific nature I love right now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And what makes you restless? And this is restless
Mm.
in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. It's always the same thing, which is my edge, which is, given how I feel the world could be, am I doing enough? Which I am always working on. When I wake up in the morning, I can turn to my right to my computer and my phone, which is the am I doing enough version of me, or I can turn to the left to my dog and the view of the hills, which is I'm doing enough just by being here. So the restlessness is always, can I turn to the left and let what I'm supposed to do express from there, rather than turn to the right and have it be a burden, like my gifts, be a slave to my gifts needing to do the thing, rather than can that restlessness of, oh, today's the day, like I get to do today, but can it come from expression and through me rather than a to-do list?
What you were describing is very interesting because my practice is based on value and valuing one thing over another thing. And there is an intrinsic value that supersedes extrinsic and systemic value. Those are the three levels of value that I
Love it.
teach. But what you are describing is rather than turn to the extrinsic or the systemic part, you turn to the intrinsic, or you try to turn to the intrinsic first in order to get from that the real purpose, the real drive, the real goal, as opposed to a checklist, which is a false goal. It's
Yep.
not really false, but
It's
it's
a contrived, it's more of a
temporary.
mental, it's more of a mental, and that doesn't allow the feminine flow to come through. So
Yes.
I always talk about the masculine and feminine, both sides of me, the engineer and the intuitive, both need to be at the helm, otherwise it's out of harmony. And
Hmm.
I need both sides of me. So that a whole bunch is going to get done today. I tell you, 50 emails are going to happen, 2 sessions are going to happen. That's all going to happen. But am I going to do it from this checklist place with my mind, or am I going to do it because, oh, this is the joyous thing my soul gets to do through this vessel in this place now, right?
It's a totally different attitude to start your day and to live your life,
Absolutely.
frankly.
Yeah.
This has
It
been,
changes my experience of it. It changes my experience of it,
oh,
which,
yeah. And I
yeah,
think it's better for you from even a health perspective to be able to come to the world and live in that way, as opposed to letting things crowd you and these.
whenever we can get into the relaxed nervous system to do from that place, we are just bathing our bodies in health and beautiful energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is amazing. And folks, you really need to go and take a look at the resources that
Oh,
Dr. Trivana has put into our show notes. A lot
mhm.
of interesting stuff, a lot of
Mm.
really cool stuff that you can consider in your search for your purpose. And there
I want
is
to,
her
my,
newest book.
yeah, this is my memoir, which is the whole story about how my intuition opens, the beginning of the story, right up until I go to Hawaii, that whole adventure on the motorcycle, etc. Then this
Ooh,
one's the handbook of everything I've learned in 20 years. So that's just a couple of them, but I feel that you can listen on Audible, and I really enjoy talking to people after they've done it because I hear them say, I'm now following. I started to have dreams. I saw a sign I usually dismiss. So it's a
mhm,
nice entry through a story to this world of intuition in the forefront with you.
absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom
Thanks,
with us.
Julie. Oh, this
And
has been
we,
lovely.
oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed
Yeah,
yourself.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing. I love that you're doing this. It's so important, and I'm really grateful. This has been really lovely. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.